Welcome back to a Family Business Podcast. Boy, do we have a treat for you today. Last week when we were at Rise, we had the opportunity to record a podcast with the one and only Erik Hatch. If you don't know Erik Hatch, let us tell you a little bit about him.
Erik Hatch is a builder of leaders, not just businesses. Based in Fargo, North Dakota, where grit meets generosity, Erik has spent the last 2 decades transforming how people lead, live, and succeed.
As the founder of Hatch Coaching and Hatch Realty, Erik has built one of the most influential real estate and coaching organizations in the nation. His real estate team has sold over 8,000 homes. Yes, I said 8,000.
That is a lot of homes.
That's a lot. Ranking among the top 1% of teams in the country year after year. But Erik's true legacy isn't not in production, it's in people.
Through his leadership, coaching, and speaking, Erik has influenced more than 1 million people across North America.
I don't even know 1 million people, do I?
Probably not. He's delivered hundreds of keynote presentations and taught hundreds of online courses and webinars, helping sales professionals, entrepreneurs, and executives elevate performance, deepen relationships, and lead with authenticity and purpose.
Erik's message blends humor. Boy, do we ever know that. Heart and hard truth. We know that too. His audiences walk away inspired to do the inner work that fuels outer success, to align their purpose with their potential and move from success to significance. His teaching has transformed thousands of lives and reshaped organizations that are hungry for growth, culture, and clarity.
A 2-time TEDx speaker and best-selling author, Erik has been featured keynote for powerhouse organizations including Microsoft, United Way, Zillow, Place, Real, and North Dakota State University. He's also the creator and host of Hatch Summit, a nationally recognized annual event since 2016, focused on leadership, sales, marketing, and wealth generation, attracting hundreds of high-performing professionals from across the country each year.
Beyond business, Erik's philanthropic efforts have raised more than $8 million globally to fight poverty and human trafficking, and over $1 million locally to combat homelessness and support kids and families in need.
At his core, Erik believes leadership isn't a title, it's a lifestyle. He lives that truth daily alongside his wife, Emily, and their 2 children, Finley and Simon. His mission is simple yet powerful: to build better humans, better businesses, and better communities, one courageous leader at a time.
We're not going to make you wait any longer. Enjoy the podcast with the Boeyes and Erik Hatch.
Welcome back to a Family Business Podcast. We are at Rise here in Orlando, Florida, and we've got a super special guest with us. I'll let you guys give the introduction.
Mr. Erik Hatch.
Super special Erik Hatch is what
That's
I
right.
just heard. We're going to tie all that
Yeah.
together.
Well, you already heard his bio, so you know, like, he's done everything in the industry, and we're just honored and blessed to have you here to share in this podcast with us today.
Well, I'm here for the snacks. And so
We have a lot.
gang, if you can't see this hotel room right now, they have snacks for a party of like 200. Do you remember that scene in The Office where Michael Scott decides like he's going to throw this hotel party right by the elevator and like everybody doesn't show up and he has like liquor for like 400 people? Like, you guys have snacks for like 400 people,
Well,
right?
we went to the grocery store on Sunday thinking that we needed it, but then we forgot we would go out and socialize and really, like, Rise is so busy and you're
Well,
so
why-
busy connecting. You never stop.
Why aren't you bringing Munchums with you?
I know.
to
Well,
every-
we probably need to.
Hey, afternoon session, the popcorn's going. I don't think the wine should go, but
Can
the
we bring
popcorn.
wine to the afternoon session?
I mean, purse wine can go pretty far. I mean, come on. PT, you love a good purse wine.
You got to have a little bit of fun once in a while.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I think we've had plenty of fun on this, and it's been awesome. But you know, let's,
you guys, okay.
Okay.
We're gonna go there. So
Okay.
I'm in the lobby. I think it's Sunday
oh
night,
no,
and you all came back from like an Iowa celebration. And I'm in a conversation with somebody who we're working on trying to attract to Real. And he's this like heavy hitter. And one of the people's like, you got to talk to this guy. It's going to be great. So I'm like 2 minutes in and I see you guys walk in and Andrea from a distance just goes, what?
So this guy was sold, right?
And I go, bro, I got to talk to you later.
time and a place.
So yes, y'all have had some fun, and I'm here for it.
Definitely.
That was my
and
late night.
we always talk about culture too, right? I mean, that's one of the big deals
No
about
doubt.
Real. So we just prove there's good culture here.
It's energy and it's fun and it's vibes, and then it's a work hard, play hard, work hard, be kind kind of world. In fact, my passion as of late, and I know I get the privilege of coaching with you guys, is I want people to actually work less and be kind.
Yeah.
Like that's actually the desire. Is like, I grinded in this business 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week for a decade. And now I could stop working and the checks still come in.
Yeah,
So it's a wild ride.
I think that's a great segue into I think one of the things some of our listeners, I mean, if you don't know Erik Hatch, you need to get to know Erik Hatch. I think we've kind of known of you just because of Real, but we really got to know you a little bit better in March, and then connected with you, like I said, to coach. And we've just, we thought about hiring a coach several times. There was never anybody that aligned with us on all the different levels of not just business, but faith and ethical stand, all the things, right? And you did, and we are blessed for that. So, you're obviously living your best life right now. Like Hatch coaching is off the charts, Real is great, but take us back, because I know that hasn't always been the life for Erik. So let's give our listeners, that are maybe starting out in their journey or thinking about getting into real estate or joining a team. Let's take us back a little bit, Erik.
Well, I always sound like a Karen when I'm like, do you know how long I've been in this business?
No, that's Brad.
Yeah.
25 years.
Oh, Brad, we know, we've heard. I am a third generation. Great. Here on the family podcast. So 20 years in, but I've lived like every step. 2006 to 2010, I was a part-time agent, and I was with a local mom and pop brokerage. And then I joined Keller Williams. I think I and 90% of the realtors in this industry were a part of Keller Williams. And I was a solo agent part-time. Then I joined a team. And this was such a pivotal moment in my business, because when I joined the team, I all of a sudden was outselling every other agent as a part-timer. And so I went to the team leader and I'm like, hey, I want to work listings. I was just on the buy side. I said, I'd love the chance to work listings, and I'd love to figure out how can I get a higher commission split. It's a common question that every team leader hears. And their answer was a very simple, no, that's not how we're built. And I lasted no more than like 20 or 30 days before I was gone. And it was like such a foundational thing in my learned lessons of, you can't say no to somebody that's hungry. You have to say yes when. PT as a rising star, if you're like, hey, I want 100% commission split in the corner office, and I want to rename this the PT show, your answer should be yes. And then when? Let's build that path. I would still be on that team today. I would have built for them the largest empire, because I want to partner with people. I want to find great folks. But I heard no, and I recognized like I'm out of runway. And so then I went and was a solo agent. And my first year as a solo agent, sold 52 houses, which is at least for me, it was a lot to sell a house a week. And not a single one was an item that I purchased. It was all sphere, referral, past clients. And then it was a lot of open houses.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds like the way that we started.
And I jumped on social media. My previous career was in ministry. And so spending that time working at a large church, it was never a sales ground for me. In fact, when I got my license, they're like, Erik, you cannot and will not sell from the pulpit. And I'm like, can you imagine giving a sermon to a bunch of middle school kids and be like, by the way, have you thought about the value of investing in real estate?
This afternoon, tell your parents we have an open house. Stop by, see Minister Hatch.
So I wanted to go back to that. That's really interesting that you said the reason why you left there was they said no.
Yeah.
And do you remember we were in the Minneapolis airport 5 or 6 years ago, and a lady that was a realtor.
Shout out to the Minneapolis airport.
The Minneapolis airport. Yes. We were in the Minneapolis airport, and we were on our way back to Moline,
San Francisco.
And there was an agent that worked in our office that ended up working for Delta Airlines. Mm-hmm. And we said, oh, how are you doing? And her name was Kim. And she said, I was at a conference. It was really interesting. She said, this whole conference was on, we have to learn to tell our clients yes and not no. That's the last resort, is no. And if you've noticed, when it comes to airlines, they've risen up to the number one airline for client satisfaction. And it's that culture. And I always talk about culture, and that's the most overused word. But that's really interesting that you really said that the word no made you leave. And that's what the airline said too, is no, we need to tell these people yes. And at a last at a last resort now.
Right. Try to figure it out to
Yeah.
keep them. So, yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
So we're a solo agent. We're preaching from pulpit, selling houses right from there.
I was not. I was told very specifically, I will not.
Fact check. No.
But
Chat GPT that.
I had a lot of relationship capital, and I didn't understand the value of relationships. And I remember I went then on a tour. So 2011, my first year, sold 52 houses. And then I did what everybody thinks they're supposed to do, and that's start a team. And so I went from being a solo agent with a part-time admin to a team of 13 within 12 months. And I just thought, I'm going to figure this out and it's going to be great. And then I went on a tour around the Minneapolis area. I live in Fargo, North Dakota. So Minneapolis
Where's
is
He could spin that back to us. Too. We got to be careful.
Was that in Iowa?
That's enough.
Oh my God.
Some lady just asked me down at the coffee shop where St. George, Iowa was. I'm like, is that
It's
Idaho?
by such and
Ohio?
such, by such and
Anyway.
such. I've never heard of that town either.
Okay.
Right?
Oh my God.
Sorry.
And so I had all this relationship capital, and I sold a bunch of houses. And then our team, our very first year, sold 192 houses. That's a lot of houses,
Yeah.
especially in a first year. But I was 113 of those. And as I went on this speaking tour for Keller Williams, I went to all these different offices, and they're like, hey, can you teach us how you did what you did? And I was like, well, you got to show up, first of all, everybody. And then you just have to be really nice. And then business is going to come to you. And yes, maybe. But I actually missed what I was doing. I hadn't systemized it. I was just doing it. And everybody thinks this for me is the transformational move for most people is we are in a digital age. You guys are doing it right now where we do podcasts and social media posts and everything that say, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. A third generation realtor, fourth generation realtor, to be able to have name recognition oftentimes says, look at me, look at me. But I can guarantee you that your success is because you say, I see you. And that's why I won as a realtor yesterday, today, and tomorrow, is because it's not about the attention that I can grab. It's about the love that I can shine and show on other people. And so I had a platform of social media before anybody else was using it. And I accelerated. I landed in so many DMs and posted on so many people's walls all the time. I was their biggest cheerleader. I was their biggest fan. And I turned that into 150 deals a year for me personally, just from relationship capital. And yes, I posted a lot so people knew, and I have a podcast now and all these things, and I have a radio show. So like, I need people to know that I exist.
Right.
But that doesn't get people to trust you. What gets people to trust you and like you is when you show up and you make them the interesting one, not by saying, look at me, look at me.
Correct.
And I know you guys are doing that in your community as well.
Being in front of people gets you in the room, but it's on you to show that humility and passion for your clients, for your relationships that you have. And that's what's going to take you to where you are.
Yeah, there's Sharon Srivatsa, who's the former president of Real and now president of acquisition.com, like just the most amazing human being. We were at Banff a year and a half ago. It was the Canadian Rise. And when we traveled back from it in the Minneapolis airport, we get a call that my wife's dad had a major stroke, and he's had huge complications from COVID, almost died of it, had stroke after stroke after stroke. Well, this was the one that took him. And so a year and a half ago, as we're traveling back from Banff, we get a couple of final hours when we get back to Fargo with him before he dies, right? For the last year and a half. And I get the privilege of seeing Sharon fairly frequently and in conversations with him without fail. The man who will be a billionaire soon and own the Anaheim Ducks and is the most popular person at all of Real. And he's the guy. Yeah. Every time he goes, hey, how's Emily? Every single time. That man is brilliant, not for what he says on a stage. He's brilliant for how he makes other people feel. Yeah. And so to the listening audience, like, I know the pressure is there to try to figure out how to be seen, how to earn a bunch of business. When I went to those different offices, I didn't know it at that time, but I know it now, that the strategy to win in business is to make sure that you are systemizing your love. Sounds weird, but it's that plan of like, I have to make sure that I'm not doing lead generation. Lead generation means I'm going to take business. It's like love generation time. Like rename the phrase. Like, I'm going to call and love on people for an hour. Yeah. And so I use an acronym called CAIG, CAIG, compliment, ask, invite, and show gratitude. And so what do you do during your love generation time is you compliment somebody or you ask them for help. The most powerful thing is like, hey, I need your help. And people will show up as board of trustees members and invest in you at the highest of accord. So we've taken this entire thing of CAIG and these systems, and we built a business where In 2021, my team in Fargo, North Dakota, and then also we had some agents in Grand Forks and Bismarck, and I've named more North Dakota cities that you don't know of. But
Bismarck's the capital, right?
Good job.
Yay.
Good job.
Fargo's actually not that small.
Our community that we serve, and we serve Moorhead, Minnesota as well, border community similar to you guys. We're 250,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, not tiny,
but we sold 1,024 homes.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
And we had a 9.5% market share. And 60% of that business was earned business. And I've been out of production for 11 years. And I've made a ton of mistakes. I've made a lot of right choices as well. I now live a life that I've never dreamt possible. I don't work the 80 to 110 hours a week anymore. I work 30, maybe 35 if I call a few more hours on the golf course work.
Which technically, Eric, that's work, right? I mean, we talked about this.
Oh my, here we go.
It is relationships, right?
Is this couples therapy?
It feels like that sometimes.
This is a little bit dangerous.
And he's usually right in the middle of it.
I just want to kind of dive into that. So obviously kind of got a little bit of your history, and I know, and I touch on like, your team and what happened, but obviously where you are now, as you just said, you've been out of production for 11 years, in our opinion, living the best life that you can and serving others, and you found your purpose. Take us back to like how, because obviously, we don't usually on this podcast, it's not a big Real promoting podcast. That's obviously our brokerage. We're in love with it, and we're so glad we're here. But obviously Real was that vehicle that helps you get to where you are now. Yeah. And can you kind of share some of that story of like what made you make that decision? How did you get to that? Like, I mean, for people that are maybe in that place where they're like, hey, this is going to end of 2025. I'm not happy where I am this year. If they're like any of us, like we for years sat at the indie brokerage that we've been at for, Brad, 23 years.
I like how you now call those indie brokerages.
it's
indie brokerages.
It's the slang, okay?
Like one of our good friends calls municipal golf courses munis.
Yeah. But, and some people have heard this story, but, we knew for several years we had outgrown that, right? We knew we wanted more for ourselves. We knew that our purpose, that God put us here, was for something else. But we knew that we were not in the right vehicle for that. When PT decided to join us as the 4th generation realtor, we really learned pretty quickly that we didn't want that same path for him. Yeah. Like we weren't setting him up for success, and we were failing at being his mentor if we stayed where we were. So take us a little bit into how you got to that point in your career and made that decision to be where you are now.
2013 and 2014 were pivotal years for me. I was at Keller Williams, and my team of 13 was a mess, just a total dumpster fire. I butted heads with the team leader and the broker, and I had somebody improperly represent themselves in a transaction, which was a reflection on me. It was a compounding effect of the head-to-head battles I was having with leadership, and my ego was so huge. I thought my stuff didn't stank, and it sure did. And they invited me to leave the company. They were like, Eric, you're gone.
Invited, I love it.
They're like, you're gone by the end of the day. And I was like, these guys are so stupid. I'm awesome. Like, I can't believe this. And so I went to my team in this Jerry Maguire moment. And I'm like, all right, who's coming with me? It was this profound moment of like, yes, like all these people are going to come. And 2 people said yes. It was one admin and one agent. And I'm like, oh, I'm the problem. And so I went to a rebound girlfriend brokerage for 9 months, cost me about $200,000 of bad decisions. I learned very quickly that I can't say yes when my gut says no. And my gut knew it wasn't the right place, and it just cost me a ton. So I opened up my own brokerage in 2014, and I thought I was at the top of the totem pole. I thought and in the mid 2010s, that was the place to be, was independent. It wasn't a screw you to franchise models, but it was like, I can brand myself and layer it with this, especially when we're team ridges and we're functioning as a team and independence and all these things. And it all made great sense. And so I'm sitting back, and EXP starts, and I'm a praying man, and I'm praying through, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like it's where it is for me, but like, I can't unsee this model. It makes such great sense. And Brad, you said culture is so overused. It's the most overused word that we have. So I want to change that to like feeling and cadence.
Correct.
Okay. 2 things, right? Sharon says culture is cadence. Like, how do people operate, and how do they think, and how do they serve? And the cadence of EXP didn't fit for me, but the model was like undeniable.
We had the same exact thought process on that. Yeah.
I ask around, and I hear about this company named Real, and I'm like, okay, there's like 2,000 agents, and it hasn't really taken off. This is 2021, and I'm like, I gotta figure this out. And so I talked to Tamir, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm talking to the president of this company that's supposed to be going public in a few months and all these things. And he hadn't met with his C-level executives in a year because of COVID. And he lives in Israel. They were meeting in New York in March of 2021. And I'm like, hey, can I come see you? He's like, yeah. They were meeting for 3 days and they gave me a day and a half, Andrea.
I want to pause right there for just a moment because I want to tell you, and I don't know if we've ever told you this story, but for those of you, so you used to have a podcast. You don't really, because now you have a radio show. But, and I don't know that we've ever told you this, but like, so when we discovered Real in November 2022 and then, did our discernment process, I will never forget, because then you get this hunger, right? And you start searching everywhere for everything you can find about Real.
Yeah.
Real this, real that.
Yeah,
You're looking, which by the way is a very hard word to Google.
So we come across your podcast with Tamir, and it's the story you're about to share in real life. And I'll tell you what, I was putting away Christmas decorations, January 2023, and I had that podcast in, and it literally brought me to tears.
Really?
It moved me so much. And I'm going to let you, but I mean, I text Brad and I said, listen to this. I can follow this guy. I believe in what he is selling. And I didn't know you at all yet either, but so take us back to that. Cause it was an incredible story.
Well, the story of how Tamir was down to like his last buck and in the middle of a divorce, and he's like, you can have everything. I just want real. Yeah. Like it was profound. And so I'm meeting this man, and Tamir is the most unimpressive man that you'll meet, because he's not a galvanizer. He's not a showman. But he is, we describe him as the lion. Like, he doesn't have to roar to understand his greatness. You understand his power when you see it. Like, he is the most impressive man I know for his heart and his character. And so I get out to New York, and I have 5 other team leaders with me, all these people considering, and I'm leading this charge. I'm like, oh my gosh. At the same time, I'm easily the largest team that Real has ever flirted with. So my ego's puffed again, and I'm like, roll out the red carpet for Big Daddy Hatch, like, I should never call myself Big Daddy Hatch.
That's gonna stick.
It's reserved.
It's like Tim Murphy.
That's right. Maybe I am Big Daddy Hatch. That's cool. And they don't pay for my flight out there, and they don't pay for my hotel room. And day one, the middle of the day, Tamir says, hey, there's some great restaurants in the neighborhood. Be back in 90 minutes. And the guy didn't even buy me lunch. I have $1 million offer from EXP. I have $750,000 in stock offered to me from Fathom. I have red carpets rolled out for days, and I'm a whale. And I'm like, Tamir, what do you got for me? And he said, Erik, our greatest value proposition for you is the same value proposition that we have for every other agent. And if our relationship begins because I offer you the nicest dowry, it doesn't mean we're going to have the best marriage. And it froze me in my tracks. I'm like, damn it. That's such a good answer, Yeah. And it wasn't ever about the stuff. The opportunity was there for me and for everyone else. And I, as someone who's been in this business, not near as long as old man Brad, but for someone that's been in this business for 20 years, it was 15 years at that point, 16 years, I was sitting on a lottery ticket. And I recognized that as I made a move, I had to be so strategic because we were good. Hatch Realty as it stood was good, but I wanted to win more. So selfishly, that like I'm like, people go to Real because of culture and because of opportunity. You can take whatever we say about tech and leadership and everything else. It's culture and it's opportunity. That's the biggest summarization that I can give. And I saw culture and I saw opportunity, and I wanted to be around people. I was so freaking lonely, guys. I had no idea how much I was craving what we're doing right now, not on a podcast, but true friendship and connection. And I had to build that table instead of being offered that table. And then I understood, as an economics decision, my agents deserved more than I was giving them. Let me sit on that for a moment, because most of us think that we're doing all we can for our agents. PT, you're how old?
26.
Okay, 26. How many properties do you own?
0.
Okay, let's pause. You're a successful realtor that will make 6 figures plus this year. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Why the hell don't you own real estate? Okay, you don't have to answer that, because this is going to be a total rabbit hole if we do. You say you want to set up your financial future, but you just haven't done it yet, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Gang, do you hear that? Like, this guy who's getting mentored and familyed and loved by Brad and Andrea, you're not setting yourself up for your financial future. And you're a smart dude and you're making enough money to do so. But because life habits and styles, like my entire team were PTs. people that I loved and they were so talented. And like, I got to set them up for better success. I got to have you eat your vegetables. And so it was like, okay, you got to come in and there's this stock purchase plan and there's this opportunity. The greatest story is this, is we have a guy on our team named Dave. Dave was with us from moment one, and he's been a capping agent every year. He's attracted like 2 agents, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of if you're comparing to somebody who's been doing this a while, but he's a good agent that's capping on a third cap, on our team. And then he maxed out his stock purchase plan. Well, Dave just got a divorce. He and his wife went separate ways. Dave has 4 kids. Dave said, Erik, I've been freaking out about money. And then he went to his ShareWorks account where he sees all his stock. And because I forced him to make a move to this company that he didn't have the faith in, but I did, because I, as a leader, have to go first and I have to see what's best for him. The $30,000 that he's invested from his own dollars over the course of 4 years, the $30,000 was $130,000 in his stock account. That's paying for his kids' financial future. It's giving him the security when everything else feels unstable. And we can talk about that. We can talk about healthcare. We can talk about the opportunities for different revenue streams. We can talk about culture all we want. But PT, you're a smart dude, but you're not buying properties. And so Brad and Andrea going to Real is actually giving you this vehicle to have a secure financial future when you're not choosing to make that choice yourself right now.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting to, last year was my first rise, and, with the switch would have been my first full year into real estate. And it was kind of odd for a while. And it was like, we're in this master's program is what we called it. I was on Brad's coattails for forever. And then I was thrown into the fire, and, I had some deals that went under contract, but then we kind of got to the point, like, is this what you want to do? And I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is what I want to continue on. And with their mentorship, with me meeting Dusty and just being here and seeing all the opportunities that we're given, it lights a fire under me to buy properties and have financial freedom for my family down the road.
Andrea, you got emotional.
I got extremely
what's going on?
It's one of those things, and it's funny because Katie she's here first real, and she's having a stellar year, and just hearing kind of that story. She has 2 young kids and all the things, but it makes me emotional because kind of we just heard Felipe, and all these things are again, when Brad and I discerned about this movement, yes, it was for us, but it also we don't have kids of our own. People know that that wasn't what God wanted. Obviously, He wanted other things from us. We have 2 dogs, but anyway. PT is like a son to us. Our nieces and nephews are like kids to us. Just hearing you say that, and just knowing that, like, when we were praying about it, and like, it's like Real is such an awesome thing, and you can't, culture and collaboration and all the things and all this. It's like, you can't put it into words. Like, it's like we used to say, we thought that we were waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, what's wrong? What's the catch? Right? Like, there literally is no catch, but then you feel bad because it's like Katie said, I feel weird, like, just trying to like sell it to people, because I don't want to sell it to people, but I also am like, this is the best thing in the world. Right. And like, if you're in real estate or you're an entrepreneur, because it's not just about, right, selling houses, right? It opens doors that people that are in the real estate sector have never, ever considered as an opportunity. Like, it just makes you an entrepreneur. And to know that PT has those opportunities, we have those opportunities, and we're gifting that to other people so that they can, like, one of the things with you in our coaching is like, it's not somebody, Dave Tina, right, on the round table. Remarkable. Like, I have never heard his story. He moved me so much. I know he did other people in that group that we were in on Monday, but he used the word, I believe, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, I think he called it money whore or money prostitute or something. Like, a lot of people in this business, right? It's like, how many transactions, how many houses, what's your volume? What's your this? And like, that's the only thing that people think matters, right? But that's just the vehicle, right? And Real helps you do that with rev share and the culture and the community and the growth. And that's what makes me emotional, right? Like, why do we not share that more? Why do we feel weird about telling someone sometimes? I don't know.
Yeah. And let's just go back to Las Vegas, right? We went to Las Vegas to a Follow-Up Boss conference, and that kind of led us to Real, but that's a long story.
Talk about Follow-Up Boss thrown by Zillow. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll save that story for another day. But when you were at that conference, PT, I really think that was the start. And after the conference, I was like, oh, he's really going to take off. And it just didn't quite happen. And I always tried to remind myself, because I got in the business when I was 22 years old, he's past where I was, but it was hard for me at the level that I was at to understand why he wasn't doing these things, right? And so we went, and that was a great conference, and it like got him going, I think. Where your career changed completely was down in Texas.
Yeah,
Sharon had a
buyers. It was the buyers practices. It's right after the new lawsuit.
Buyers mastery class down there.
Yep.
And I remember like there was something in your eyes that it was like, I know that I want to do this. And you implemented, this was before you got into the coaching with Really Dusty, who's done an amazing job with you. But I remember you implemented, like we went to the Follow-Up Boss conference. You didn't do a ton of implementation, but I'll tell you what, when you left that conference, you did a lot of what he said, and you were taking notes like crazy. And that was the moment that I knew that you were going to be a great real estate agent. And getting back to real too, culture, right? Sharon, I mean, those of you that didn't know, he went to college at Luther College. So we
in Iowa.
So that was in Iowa. And we, of course, knew where that was at. But Tamir, the longer that we've been at this company, the more and more I realize exactly what you just said. He blew me away. We went to Oak Brook, Illinois last year for a deal with the realtors from Chicago who have been so gracious to let us into all their things. And we had a little happy hour deal. That was great. The next day we went to lunch. Andrea and I show up there, and it's myself, Andrea, and Tamir only.
And Ravi.
We're the first ones, and Ravi. We're the only ones there. And we're like, oh, I'm actually a little nervous. So we got to know him, and I'm not nervous at all around him at all anymore, that he is one of the most genuine human beings.
Yeah, there's nobody like him.
And we were all talking about how great Real is, blah, blah, blah. Towards the end of the lunch, he said, all right, what is it that we're not doing well? Yeah. And to have a CEO, and this is a blanket statement, a lot of them tend to be a little bit aloof. They've just got a million things going on. They like have to worry about a board. They have to worry about this and that. He literally is boots on the ground with his agents and wants to know what's going on out there, which is so impressive.
Well, and it's like, Eric, I'm not like Jock and Big Daddy Hatch or whatever your new name is, but like, it goes back to like, there's this saying, I'm the only one, maybe you, I don't know. And no one else in this worked in the corporate world before coming to real estate. They didn't, I did. And in the corporate world, there's a saying that like, it stems from the top, right? Like, say like, and it's very clear that Tamir's leadership is what has fostered the kindness, the generosity, the collaboration. And that's why I feel like Real continues to grow, because he makes more people, more Erik Hatches. And not that you weren't already, you know what I mean? Like he just amplifies that, right? It's like, put yourself in the right room.
We rise and fall based on our surroundings. And your original question was, hey, we love this company. Let's actually talk about it for a little bit. And it can feel like a bit of a sales pitch. And if you're at a place that lifts you up, please stay there. Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's no need to change if you're checking the boxes. Yeah. If you're like, I'm not sure that, like, winning is contagious and Real is winning, and that's really fun. And I want to be clear. There's going to come a day when Real's not going to win like they are right now, where there's not all the hits that keep on coming. And those are going to be days in which we're going to have to say, like, am I invested in for the long term? Or like, Real is not the destination, it's just the vehicle. And gang, I want a big life. I want a big life for me. I was sitting on a lottery ticket that I needed to cash in, but for the PTs that were in my world, man, I'd die for them. And that means I have to make a step to lead them to a place like that.
So that's the last little topic here. So now you're obviously into coaching a lot, right? That's really your passion. What got you from wanting to sell real estate? You went to go build this great team. Like, what made you want to be a coach?
I never wanted to be a coach. Are you kidding me?
Just like you didn't want to be a team leader, right?
Well, I was a team leader because I was told I was supposed to.
Right.
And then it failed because I did it like everybody else. And then I turned it into my ministry. When I got kicked out of Keller Williams in 2013, it was a start over time for me. And I'm like, this only makes sense if the people on my team win with me. I was giving them my table scraps and I was giving them online leads. And then I just assumed that they were going to come and bring me a bunch of money. And that was the joy of being a team leader.
Yeah.
when I read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it talked about how I could have a great life, but it never said how my agents could have a great life. And I felt like that was a missing piece. In fact, I went and wrote a book called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, identifying like, hey, this is how we're all going to win together. But in this model and in this life, I recognize like, okay, Erik, this is your ministry. And that was my team. And then that was my coaching. Coaching came not because I ever wanted to be a coach. I never set out to say, I want to be the guy that when they walk in the room, is like, oh, here comes douchey Erik and ready to just give all these inspirational things. Like, no, that was,
Yeah.
I get my stitch. I totally understand. But we had done a couple of things really uniquely. Our per agent productivity on our team was higher than almost anybody in the industry. Our agent partner model was groundbreaking. We weren't the first to do it, but we were the best to do it. And then our inside sales agent team converting these purchase leads, they were better than anybody else. And so we had 3 really unique value propositions and people were begging for my time. And then I'm like, hey, well, if you want to talk with me, it's going to be $300 for 2 hours of calls a month. And I'm like, $150 an hour. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm just going to be swimming in it. And like, you guys pay 10 times that. Like, thank you for that, by the way. I want to be super clear. Like, it's really great.
I guess I know who's buying lunch.
That's right. I'm going to have some munchums and wine.
Hey,
it's already in the room.
Munchies, Erik.
Is it munchies?
Munchies, Erik. Come on,
I'm sorry.
munchies.
I'm sorry. I'm not hip on the Big Papa Hatch. Isn't always like, I was able to start charging, not because I wanted to, but because I had to protect my time. Like none of this matters if I lose at home.
Yeah.
And so I had to protect that. And then this is a lucrative business that we're in where people make big money. They're willing to spend big money. And I'm not taking advantage of it. I'm trying to say, like, and you guys understand this. The core of my coaching is I need you to win at home first. And I need you to have a healthier life. I need you to be better aunts and uncles and parents and spouses and people in your community. And the byproduct of that is that your business will be a reflection of, and it amplifies. The communities that we're in amplify, and the coaching that you're in amplifies. If you're a douche nugget who's just money hungry and you don't care about how you treat people, like money's going to amplify that. But if you're great quality people like the 3 of you, the money is going to amplify it. So I want to help you to make a ton more money.
Yeah.
But not at the cost of your soul and your relationships. In fact, we're going to fuel those things that matter first. So I started coaching for another company. I was either fired within 2 weeks or the people couldn't quit me.
You're such a rebel.
Well, I went in and they're like, hey, I need to make more money quick. I'm like, how's your marriage? They're like, no, can you please just give me 4 things to say to a client right now? I need a script. I'm like, have you been a great listener? I built my entire business on that now. And so our coaching company, we serve top teams, we serve top producers, and I create communities because if I'm the only value proposition, that's a bunk model. And the same is with Real, is if I'm the only value proposition as someone's sponsor, that's a bunk model. And so we have to do better. And so it's always about community. It's always about helping people to have great lives. And the byproduct of it is you should make great money with that.
So let's back up just a little bit, because one topic that I do want to touch on, because I do think it's something that a lot of, especially PTs, we'll just use PTs, struggle with in our environment, right? Is like, okay, I'm a solo agent, or should I be on a team? What's that dynamic? Like, okay, I feel like and we have very strong opinions on this, and we've shared them in some of our podcasts, and you know how our team operates, because we are really about making sure that the agents that are part of that excel, right? Our goal would be to them go start their own team or do whatever. Like, take me through that thought process, or what advice you give to the PTs or the people that are like, should I be on a team? Should I not be on a team? What should I do?
Yeah. If you're starting out in this industry or you aren't achieving the financial goals that you want, everybody should say, who can I align with? Sometimes that means a team. In fact, most of the time that means a team, but it can mean great mentorship, can mean a great community. I actually think that it only takes 3 things to be successful in this business. And this is what I think everybody should have their agents and their squad do. Number 1 is they have to show up. There's clear commitments to show up. And of course, there's work that's done when you show up, right? But the energy, the vibes, the attendance, you show up early and you bring the right energy every day that commitment is there. The second is you have X number of conversations per week, and you set the number of conversations. It's not complicated, but you have to know, you have to say the right thing. You have to say it enough times, and you have to say it to the right people. Most of the time, people don't know what to say. They don't know how often to say it, and they don't know who they're supposed to say it to. So they get inconsistent results because they throw everything against the wall. And then the final step is you should add at least 5 new friends to your database and your network weekly. And that's it. So if you're new and starting out, get into an environment where you're going to do that, where you're going to show up regularly, where you're going to have X number of conversations and you're going to say the right thing, say it enough times and say it to the right people. And then you need to make sure that you're putting yourself with new people in your database, in your world weekly. The best way to do that is with a team. But you can certainly do that without. But I will die on the hill of the greatest agents I know are those that start off aligning with great agents, and they get their MBA in real estate. PT, it's what you're doing right now, right? You're getting your MBA in real estate, working underneath and partnering with Brad.
That's right. Yeah. And before we wrap this up, because I know we're getting pretty close, but what you said today opened my eyes, and I know we're at a conference now, all the adrenaline's up, the emotions up. But I knew that this switch and this risk that Brad and Andrea took and Sarah took to come to Real was giving us opportunity. But what you just said is that it laid the path for us, not only for myself, but my kids and my family. And I want to thank you both for that because it's, we coexist together and we work together and we live together. But that right there was something that you did that for not only me, but everybody else in our office and anybody that you guys touch. And you guys deserve all of the credit in the world.
Really appreciate that. And we're very proud of you too. And we just wanted to look at the long-term picture of this thing. Erik,
go get some tissue.
You are
all 3 of you. Go get some tissue.
I know you don't like compliments, but
I love compliments.
All right, so I'm going to lay it on you here. And, you are a very humble and genuine person. And to tell your past and be brutally honest, that helps all of us out so much, right? And we've only known you for, 6 months? It's really been a true pleasure. You made a difference in our life, and you're just a really, really good person, and we're happy that you're on this podcast with us.
Let's
too,
not
with
forget
all
about
this,
M, okay?
with
Come
all
on.
this information.
My wife, the star.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She is the star. I mean, I met her 2 times now, and I already know who runs the Hatch family.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we just can't. And I'm going to let the Velvet Voice Assassin over there close us out here. But I just, anybody, if you're listening to this today, you have questions about Real, you have questions about where you're at in your business, and how to help discern that, reach out to any of us, right? We're here to help you. At the end of the day, we want to, what did Felipe say today? Love the good out of each other. Is that right? Or the more
live in harmony.
Yeah. And I think that just makes the world a better place. I look back to where we were, we say this all the time. When we came to Real, it's like this instant, weight came lifted off of us, and it's even better and better and better. Right. We continue to grow. Obviously you still got to put oil in the car and gas it up and inflate your tires. Right. But you continue to grow. Right. And so I thank you for helping us in that growth. And if you're out there and you're an agent and you're feeling like you're not growing, reach out. There's an answer. And maybe it's not even real estate, right? But just reach out. And, Erik, you got anything to add before we let the voice assassin close it out?
Do good, serve, nothing else matters. That's it.
Peace.
Love it.
Fist pump. We got a fist pump here. The
Velvet Voice just says peace.
That's what he does every time. That's how he closes it out.
Thank you so much.